star last night and thought of you, but it must have been a dream, 'cause you're not here. I've never been one to believe in fairy tales or fantasy, but perhaps it's time for a change of mind. I guess there's a first for everything. We fell in love, we had our fun. You always had enough dreams for both of us. I wonder what would come of us if we could trade these ends for beginnings. I'm drinking from an empty cup. The hardest part of young love was growing up. It's not enough to fill me up, 'cause now there's one less star in the city. Now there's one less star in the city. Now there's one less star in the city. Shooting star last night and thought of you, but I woke up from a dream and you're not here. We fell in love, we had our fun. You always had enough dreams for both of us. I wonder what will come of us, 'cause now there's one less star in the city. Cause now there's one less star in the city. We fell in love, we had our fun. You always had enough dreams for both of us. I wonder what would come of us if we could trade these ends for beginnings. I'm drinking from an empty cup. The hardest part of young love was growing up. It's not enough to fill me up, 'cause now there's one less star in the city. I can't keep living without you, but I'll wait, and someday I'll join you in the stars. But for now, I can't keep thinking about you, 'cause I can't find my way, 'cause now there's one less star in the city. I can't keep living without you, but I'll wait, and someday I'll join you in the stars. But for now, I can't keep thinking about you, 'cause I can't find my way, 'cause now there's one less star in the city.
I've got something for you, and I can hardly breathe. Something draws me to you, it's taking over me. Don't know where you came from, but you're cutting deep. When the music's over, will you come with me? Tell me you can feel it, though we're oceans apart. I've got love for you, I've got love for you, and I know this magic sparks inside who we are. I've got love for seems, floating through the puzzles and the endless screens. Well, I've got something for you, and it's cutting deep. Now the music's over. Will you come with me? And tell me you can feel it, though we're oceans apart. I've got love for you. I've got love for you. I know this magic sparks inside who we are. I've got love for you. I've got love for you. We left this town with the speakers loud and the radio playing old Sublime that we stole online, every verse we know. And we hadn't had a clue if we'd make it by noon or even where we'd go. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. We don't need a map, everywhere. The tank said E and we all agree that we're just too broke to fill it back up, so we left your truck on the road with Rome. Then we found a motel with a cigarette smell, so we knew we're close. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. Is where I can find some peace of mind to make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. But don't get left behind on the road. Don't get left behind on the road. Don't get left behind on the road. We play Tupac Sharak and we turn the music up when he raps about hope. We hold our thumbs high and hope someone is kind enough to give us all a ride. And we wouldn't have a clue if we'd make it back to or even where we'd go. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. A Ford stopped on the street, said where you trying to be. We said we don't really care, we'll know it when we're there. We took on down the road, he flipped on his radio. Santeria started slow, so we knew that we were close. Home is where I can find some peace of mind to make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. 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 Don't get left left behind on the road. Home is where I can find some peace of mind and make my way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. You say you need a hero, someone to set you free. You say you need a hero, but don't put your faith in me. Don't put your faith in me. No. We all get lost sometimes, we all fall sometimes. The darkness in our hearts makes us shine like little stars. We are heroes. We are heroes. Heroes. We are heroes. We are heroes. We are see you walking through dark lands, searching for a strong hand to take the reins and don't let go. But don't put your faith in me, 'cause I'm no hero, at least not tonight. 'Cause we all get scared sometimes, we all fall sometimes. The darkness in our hearts makes us shine like little stars. We all get lost sometimes, we all fall sometimes. The darkness in our hearts makes us shine like little stars. We are heroes. We are heroes. Heroes. We are heroes.
A real clockwork soldier.
Generation Orange in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Wrong show. Right day for that. I mean, technically, but wrong show.
Welcome to another episode of Generation Orange. My name is Edson Ochoa. I am accompanied by my co-host and really good friend, Sean Ringrose. Sean, how you doing, man?
I'm exhausted, ready to go lay down and go to sleep.
Well, we have a show to do first, and there's really a lot to talk about. And like we promised, we were going to be talking a lot more Dash for this for this show, since I think technically we're still under the break for the Dynamo for this last weekend. They had the international break. We had a U.S. men's national team coming to play here at BBVA Compass Stadium on Tuesday. We will be talking Dash, who played a preseason match last Saturday in Aggieland against
That you went to.
Yes, that I did go to, which it was interesting going back there after 9 years. So a lot has changed, but we'll talk more about that as well. All of the women's national team call-ups, especially from Dash players, and there's a lot more topics that we'll be going to talking about tonight. So thank you all for thank you all for coming and watching the show. Be sure to like this video if you haven't already. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you have not already, and share this stream with all of your friends. If they're Dash fans, if they're Dynamo fans, RGV fans, whatever. If they like Houston soccer in general, share this stream with them, and tell them to come. Invite them over and have some good old discussion right here in the chat. And so we have Darby. I want to say hi to Blues fan. We want to say hi to Darby. We have Cisco here as well. And it's okay, guys. I realized that I needed to push that unmute mic button. I'm still trying to get used to OBS. Okay, usually I have the thing that automatically unmute the mic whenever I changed it to the scene. But thank you Blues, for letting me know about that.
I don't know what's talking about. All I'm hearing are excuses.
Is that really something you weren't expecting?
No, I was expecting it. Especially after the week that I've had, but we won't go there. So really the primary thing that I want to talk about tonight, and I want people who are watching to chime in, because this is a really important topic that I think has gone very quietly to the wayside, especially recently. Look, we're watching women's soccer around the world absolutely selling out major, massive stadiums, and not just one match, but they're doing it consistently. And these are the elite clubs of the world. Don't get me wrong, the elite men's clubs of the world, if you will. But Juventus just sold out their stadium for a women's match, and the atmosphere in that stadium for that match was as good as their men's team, and their men's matches. We've seen Chelsea, we've seen Arsenal, we've seen Tottenham,
Atletico Madrid.
We've seen Barcelona's women's team. We've seen what was the other one that I'm trying to think of? Was that Bayern Munich's women's team? The UWCL, the UEFA version of the women's championship.
And let's not forget that Tigres and Monterrey had
the league, the Liga Femenil MX. I don't know what they actually call it.
Well, let's just mention Tigres and Rayados, because every other team is just horrible attendance. I think those two teams, because of the culture in Monterrey for soccer in general, they're the exception to the norm.
But see, that to me says something, right? That regardless of that, though, those teams, their women's teams, everybody expected, I say everybody, a large portion of the world expected that these games wouldn't be sellouts. Because what have we been told as a culture, as a society, is that women's sports don't sell out. They're not big draws. They're not big in entertainment. And yet here we are. We're easily could name almost 15 clubs off the top of our heads, women's clubs now, women's teams that have sold out their stadium. And again, these are not small stadiums. They're not NWSL 5,000 seat stadiums. I mean, these are 50, 60,000 seat stadiums in some cases, and they're selling them out. And no, that's not happening in every match, but I can't think of a whole lot of NWSL matches, Thorns or otherwise, where their teams are selling out stadiums, even in their big rivalry matches.
Yeah.
So it just, I take a look at it, and no, Cisco, that match was not free. That was not offered as a free match. Those people showed up and paid money for the match. There was one of them that was free, but even still, it's not like Dash tickets are expensive by any stretch of the imagination. But my greater point here is that with everything that's been said about women's sports over the last, let's just say, decade, since the WNBA came into fruition back in the early 2000s, for everything that's been said about women's sports and all of the knocks placed on women's sports, especially women's team sports, it seems to me that there's actually a rather large market for women's team sports, especially women's soccer. And I feel like here in the U.S., I think we tend to have a slighted, skewed view of women's sports, but especially women's soccer. Now maybe it would be different if the Dynamo were winning consistently and drawing consistently, then maybe the Dash would draw a little bit more consistently as well. But I look at the Dash and I go, there's zero reason this team should not be drawing, let's say 10,000. Let's say half the stadium should not be drawing 10,000 a match. They're averaging somewhere between 5,000 to 7,000 a match, across the entire season.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the matches are weeknight matches, in the middle of the week. In some cases during the heart of the school year when kids are trying to prep for finals, makes it tougher. But, even Saturday matches. I mean, I can think of a couple of Saturday matches that I've been to the last couple of years that have drawn 3,000-4,000 people. Maybe that might be on the high side.
Yeah.
And it's just I sit there and I look at this, right, and it just makes me go, it makes me think to myself, what is it that is missing for this fan base when it comes to women's soccer versus and maybe the statement there and maybe the answer there, versus one of the elite clubs in the world. Maybe the answer in the statement there, answers itself or the question answers itself because the Dynamo don't have that rich history that a Juventus or a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or a Tottenham or an Arsenal or a Chelsea or a Man United or a Tigres even have. Maybe that at the end of the day is the answer to that.
Now you have to remember that most of these women's teams around the world, they have the same identity as their male counterparts. Whereas
sorry, I'm not trying to step on you, but I want to emphasize that because that was a point that I wanted to make. So thank you, because you reminded me, and obviously I'm exhausted, so my mind is not all there. But I want to emphasize that because where and I think it came up in the Discord just yesterday or the day before, or maybe it was on Twitter. No, it was on Twitter. Sarah and some of the Houston Dash supporters were talking on to the Gen Orange account when we had tweeted out that we were going to be talking about Dash this week about how the Dynamo historically have treated the Dash like a charity case. And we've talked about that on our show. We talked about that on the Peel a couple of years ago, that, that Chris Kennedy, his approach seemed to be that this was his pet project. And he viewed the Dash as a charity, as a cause, and, as a benefit, if you will, not like a benefit, like we think of benefits like health insurance, but a benefit, like a benefit concert, it's a cause, it's a charity. Something that you should do out of the goodwill of your heart, not something you want to do because you enjoy it. And I just feel like the marketing was even poised that way. Like, we're women's players, hoorah. Like, it was not, hey, we're just as good as the guys. Like, we're a team. We're a women's team, but we're still a team. We're still soccer players. And I think what got me going on this part of it and really made me start to think through this part of it was that advertisement that was released for and was that the Spanish national women's team advertisement that was it Nike that released it. I know the one I'm talking about because it was incredible. I watched that ad and went, oh, I love this advertisement. And I wish I could think of where it came from. Somebody in chat, maybe they'll know. But I watched that video. And I had to take a step back and this video is a month old, maybe at this point. And it popped up on my Facebook feed for whatever that's worth. But I had to take a step back because I think culturally speaking,
was it Adidas?
Maybe it was Adidas. Maybe that was it. And it's got some, I don't know. You can tell me if you pop it up in a link or something. I can quickly look at it and tell you. But I mean, it grabbed me. It genuinely grabbed me. It made me think about how I've supported the Dash. It made me think about my thoughts and feelings on the Dash. No, it wasn't that one.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't a U.S. women's national team. It definitely had Spanish players in there, and it was definitely like Spanish women's national team players. Now, whether it was a La Liga, type of advertisement, I don't remember, but it was something along the lines of, we're football players, as well. We play football. It's not women's football. It's still football, which is what caught me, right? That at the end of the day, this is still soccer. It is women's soccer. It's women playing soccer, but that doesn't make it a different form of soccer. It is still soccer. Mm-hmm. And until the NWSL, until USSF, until MLS clubs start, and the fan bases even start treating these players and the league and the teams as soccer clubs, soccer teams, soccer players, and professional soccer players, until they really start treating them like that, the league is not going to succeed. It's going to survive, but it's not going to succeed. The players, at the lower end of the totem pole are going to continue to struggle to make any money. And coaches are not going to view it as a viable option internationally. Why would a coach with the pedigree in the women's soccer, in women's soccer or soccer in general, consider the NWSL when they can go to Barcelona, Real Madrid, the teams we've already mentioned, Juventus, Inter Milan, and go coach their women's soccer teams? Why would they come to NWSL and coach over here? Mm-hmm. And I think that the days of the NWSL having the better players, I think those are quickly going away. I think that gap has shrunk tremendously. I mean, yes, NWSL has the U.S. women's soccer team player, U.S. women's national team players, but A, how many of those players go abroad when they're younger, and then B, how many other international women's team players are we truly drawing at the top of their game? I would say right now that we're not drawing nearly as many as we used to in terms of NWSL. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are a few still there, but I think more and more international federations are starting to take into account that the women's soccer and soccer played by women is a viable entertainment option and is actually economically feasible if you approach it right, if you market it right, if you handle it right, if you treat it like it deserves to be treated. And that's as soccer. Advertise it like soccer, treat it like soccer, treat the fan base like it's soccer. Don't try to sugarcoat or try to sweeten it, as the case may be.
Sarah disagrees with you.
Well, I think she's referring to the international players, and I think at the top tier, I think you're talking, okay, Canadian women's national team players. I mean, they really don't have a league to go to otherwise. But I mean, come on, how many of our U.S. women's national team players, really players that are playing abroad? I mean, we had Crystal Dunn go abroad and came back, but she went abroad. Mm-hmm. We had Morgan Bryan threaten to go abroad. I mean, we've had, Carly Lloyd went abroad. Our best players are going to play abroad. They're playing in Australia. They're playing in the Australian League. Hell, 99% of our players go play in the Australian League. It seems like at this rate, it's not that high, but it feels like it at times.
Yeah.
And I think it's great because they do have seasons that coincide rather well to be able to do that. But, even teams, okay, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I would love to see NWSL suck it up and participate in the different international tournaments that are out there, or come up with a international club tournament that's very similar to the Club World Cup. Yeah, it's going to cost some money, but if these other elite clubs are drawing the attendance that they're drawing, I don't foresee that being an issue. I foresee that being an absolute boon for that's what I said, Sarah. Yeah, it's in the off season. I know. It coincides really well seasonally, schedule-wise, so that players can afford to do that, or can do that without having to leave their home club or their club that they play for here in the U.S. But I want to see an international tournament, and because I really genuinely believe that that teams in the NWSL would not run roughshod over some of those teams internationally, the elite teams, even though the elite teams don't have the bigger quote unquote names. I think the difference is that a lot of those players have grown up in their academy systems together.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows for a more tactically
organic,
and that chemistry that you can build when you play with the same players for 2, 3, 4 seasons.
Yes,
is there. And I just feel like the NWSL loses that because it feels like now, granted, the Dash this year are an exception. We've had the same players mostly for 2, almost going on 3 seasons now. And that's really, really rare in NWSL. I mean, there's a lot of teams that consistently year over year, minus their 3 or 4 or 5 really big name players, they're cycling players consistently. And so, and yes, Sarah, I completely agree with you on the quote from James Clarkson. And that's why I'm so glad that James Clarkson is the Dash coach now, because he understands that fundamental thing, that fundamental idea that soccer is soccer no matter who's playing it. And if you approach soccer as soccer, it allows the sport to breathe. It allows the game to breathe. It allows the players to breathe and to breed their style of soccer and breathe their style of soccer into the game on the pitch. And I just feel like that's been lacking. Whether it's the Dash or NWSL, I'm not sure. Perhaps the Dash previously. Now I think it is improving tremendously this season, or will improve tremendously this season. But it's just, man, I have been on such a long rant, but that's what happens when I work all week, and I'm tired. But I look at it, and I guess that's my big struggle is, have we really as a culture, as a society, approached NWSL and women's soccer as soccer and as part of the same sport as the men? Or have we, traditionally speaking, the majority of us tended to view it as kind of similar to the WNBA, I feel like gets a rap for being the women's version of the sport. The women don't dunk. Well, there have been women who have dunked, and so it's just, I don't know. I look at it and I just feel like there's this brand of label that's been label that's been placed on the NWSL and on women's soccer in general here in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Just that it's an inferior product. And in my opinion, as someone who's watched various women's soccer matches, I think that brand and that label are completely off base. That at times the women's game has a flair to it that the men's game a lot of the times doesn't have here in this country. I don't know. I wonder what it is that causes, and maybe some people will try to say that the Dash have struggled with attendance because they've not been able to make it into the playoffs yet. And I could buy into that. I can understand that. But at the same time, there should still be the support there. And I don't know. I mean, that's why I wanted chat to be involved this week. I wanted to know what chat thinks. It's just,
or call.
Or call in, for sure. Call in. And for everybody to know, I'm only expecting or only planning to go an hour. So you have 40 minutes. So you better really, truly call in quick. Just because I am so tired and wiped mentally and emotionally and physically and psychologically. But we will take calls for sure if you want to call in. 956-622-5977. I'm shocked I remember that considering the number of phone numbers I've had to memorize this past week. But all the same. And seriously, I mean, we do want your thoughts. We want your opinions because, again, this week is all about the Dash and all about their season and their preseason, and the Bayou City Republic is such a huge part of what I was hoping this show would be. I had every intention to have Hal Kaiser or Jen Cooper come on this week, but due to my scheduling this week with working a response, I've been literally tied up all week and haven't been able to really reach out to either of them. So I've just kind of put the kibosh on that. But so Callow says, honestly, the thing that hurts the Dash so much is that the league is so small. He says they're fun. Oh, he's talking to Brandon about that, but I think that's fair. The league is only 10 teams.
So there's another thing that I do want to add as well that is no, that's fine, and that is having teams like Sky Blue FC like ruining the reputation of the league as a whole, and kind of not embracing, but kind of reaffirming in other people's thoughts that women's soccer isn't important, kind of thing. When you mentioned as well about having international tournaments, one of the things I was talking to with my friend who's a Tigres fan, and he follows Tigres Femenil. One of the things that we're debating is it would be cool to see a tournament between Liga MX Femenil and NWSL, because we got on a debate of like, well, which league is better talent-wise, whether Liga MX Femenil or NWSL, because I know there were some players from Tigres that are really good players like Nayeli Rangel that are not getting minutes with Tigres, that have kind of threatened on social media that they want to leave. And so we were debating, well, where would she go? Would she go back to Europe? And I was like, well, she would probably come to the NWSL. I think it'd be a good fit. And he made it seem like, well, the NWSL isn't that, talent-wise, isn't that good of a league. And I told him, dude, we have so many national team players on this league that, I think it'd be a good fit for her to grow talent-wise going up against all these national team players.
Well, I mean, and you look at players like Aria Romero, who her time, I feel like her time in NWSL made her and she's back now, but her time in NWSL before now, when she started with the Dash, I feel like that time that she spent in NWSL with the Dash specifically helped her become a better international player. She's been, or had been at least previous to her injury, a really, really good, decent player for the Mexican women's national team. And I just feel like, I don't know. I mean, I look at players like that have grown because of the league, and I'm glad to see that, because it makes me feel like at least the league is serving some sort of purpose. But you make the point about Sky Blue FC. I look at that team and I'm just like, how can they let that continue going? Like, at some point, the league, you would expect, has to step in and say, look, you've tarnished the reputation of the league. You've tarnished the reputation of some of our players. You've tarnished the reputation of just in terms, like I said, the league, but in terms of just the overall, fan base and how they view the league. I mean, at some point they have to step in and do something about it, because it's atrocious what's happening up there.
Yeah, and let's not forget as well with this whole situation they're talking about it in the chat, the USSF agreement, as well as I just had it in my head and then it just went away. What I wanted to talk about, another reason why maybe a lot of people don't watch the NWSL, but it'll come back to me eventually.
Well, part of it is, I think, too, and I'm going to add this because it's kind of come up in chat but not really been said outright, which is, the last few years in particular, you've had, well, and I guess it lasts less so this past season, but previous seasons to this, Carly Lloyd comes to mind, Crystal Dunn comes to mind. You've had U.S. men's national team players that committed to a team that, well, they committed to a team, then they got traded, or, they got traded and they didn't like the team they got traded to. So they were like, well, I'm going to go play in Europe. Peace. And they left. And, fans had gotten excited and the clubs had specifically marketed around those players. And then the players never played a match in their club's team, or they threw fits and were terrible chemistry type players.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't help build the team up. And, and I don't know. I look at that and I go, well, that's definitely had to play a role in some of what we see. And I think that ties into the whole, CBA thing. We will, Brandon, we'll get into that in just a minute. I'll have Edson pull up some of the actual stuff, and I'm sure Sarah and Robin can kind of type up a nice summary for you. But he's asking about Sky Blue FC.
Yeah, I saw
what the issues are related to that.
Mm-hmm.
But Callow makes the point, and this is one of the things that irks me, which is unlike in MLS where you're in the men's teams, where the players contract with at least the league instead of the federation. In NWSL, the players contract with the federation, not the league and not the teams. So if a player doesn't like the team they're traded to, they have the power to say, I'm not going to play in this league. I'm going to go play in another league, because they're only contracted with the federation. And so you had instances like the Crystal Dunn situation where she went overseas to play a year because she didn't want to play for the team she was traded to. And you've had other examples of that same type of thing happen. I just feel like when I look at it, the NWSL just feels like it's this mishmash of all sorts of issues, all sorts of problems. And I know there's people that are sitting there listening to this or watching this going, you're not really making a strong case for why I should go out to an NWSL match. And I think that's fair. And I think with all the struggles, it's important to remember, just like we have talked about previously when it comes to the Dynamo and MLS, if you don't approve of what's going on, not going to the matches doesn't change anything. It creates a circle of suck and just feeds into that circle of suck. And I think the same thing is true with the Dash. If you want to see the Dash improve, if you want to see NWSL improve, if you want to see the quality of play improve, if you don't think the quality of play is good enough, then you need to attend matches. You need to get involved. You need to become engaged, because otherwise you're just feeding that circle of suck. And guess what? That circle of suck doesn't stop with you. It continues on to the players. It continues on to the ownership. It continues on to the coaching. Really does, whether we think about it or not, it does. When there's not a lot of fans showing up to the Dash matches, we talked about this with RGV when the RGV fans booed the team on the pitch. Are you whistling?
Yeah. Okay,
just want to make sure. I want to make sure that was you and not your cat trying to whistle somehow, and I was about to be really freaked out. I'm. Oh, sorry. Anyways, I got sidetracked because I looked at chat. That's my fault. Okay. But, if you want to see things improve, you have to get involved. You have to, you need to educate yourself a little bit as well to see why some of the issues are the way they are. But then you also need to take the time to get engaged, to get involved. I know that's hard to ask when you're frustrated or when you don't perceive the value in it. But sometimes you have to be the one to help add the value to what you want to add, what you want to see the value improve in. I can tell you that the Bayou City Republic, they don't all think that the team is the greatest thing since sliced bread. They love the players. They love the general team. But that doesn't mean they agree with everything that the front office does or everything that the front office did or everything marketing did. I can tell you for a fact I know they didn't. But they still go out and support. And it can be the same way. We've talked about it the same way with the Dynamo. It can be the same way with the Dash and with the Bayou City Republic. And the price point to get into the Dash and become a Dash supporter is substantially lower than the price point to become a Dynamo supporter or, be more involved with the Dynamo. Mostly because the tickets are a lot cheaper. They've got some really great ticket specials going on right now. I think the buy one, get one free is still going on. And I think if I remember correctly, $7 tickets or something like that for the first match. Not buy one, get one free at $7, but $7 ticket if you want it. And unlike the Dynamo, you can get those tickets in pretty freaking close. Like you don't have to sit far away, you don't have to be in the upper deck to sit in those seats. Or to get that price. Like that price is available for just about anybody anywhere in the stadium almost. So what I'm trying to say is, hey, why don't we do something really cool and show our Dash peeps that, we love them because we love our Dash players. They're amazing and awesome. Yay, Sofia Huerta. Yay, Kalia Ohai. Yay, Taylor Como. Taylor Como. Yay, Ari Romero.
Rachel
yay,
Daly.
Chapman. Yay, Rachel Daly. I'm not done yet. Yay, Rachel Daly. Yay, Amber Brooks. Yay, Jane Campbell. Yay, Claire Pokinghome. Yay, I'm trying to think if I can remember any more. I probably can't. Yay, Haley Hansen. Oh, did she get traded? Sarah, you'll have to remind me because I don't remember. I didn't keep up as much with them in this offseason as I should have. And all the others that I can't remember off the top of my head because I'm trying to think, and it's just what's her name? Veronica Latsko. Aha, see, I know my players. And then of course the draft picks that we had, which if I remember correctly, Sarah or anybody else who's Robin may remember this as well. I don't know, and who knows? Cisco may remember. Khaled may remember. Did the Dash did not have a first round draft pick. They had something like 5 second round draft picks, if I'm not mistaken, or was it 3 second round draft picks and then 2 fourth round or third round? I don't think they had any fourth round. I think they had a third round. But anyways, yeah, I don't know why I went down that path, but
so
one other thing I want. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
There's just a comment here in the chat by Brandon. He says it's a two-sided sword, Sean. Showing up to the games in mass will give the FO an idea that they're doing the right thing. Not showing up also hurts the team, but can be a form of protest.
It can be a form of protest, but what the hell are you protesting? Are you protesting the front office? Because if you're protesting the front office, guess what? That's not going to change a damn thing. At the end of the day, just like we talked about with the Dynamo, just like we talked about with RGV, having the Dash here in Houston, it is not a freaking right. We don't have a right to a women's soccer team. We don't have a right to any soccer team here, professionally or otherwise in the Houston area. We have it. It's a privilege. So honor it like it's a gosh darn privilege.
What? We have a call.
Oh, good.
Welcome to Generation Orange. Who are we speaking with?
Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. Yay! How are you doing, Sarah?
What's up?
Not much.
Both of you? Am I live?
You are
Yeah,
live.
you are live. En vivo.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we don't mess around.
Because
We
I'm
don't
like,
mess
I must
around.
be like 5 seconds behind you guys or something. But
Oh, no, yeah, no, there's a significant delay when it goes from Edson's computer to YouTube. So, yeah, so this is
Gotcha.
great. You're on live right now. Sorry.
yeah,
What's
I
up?
figured someone who's actually been to Dash events in the past couple of years should probably call in and talk.
Ouch. Okay, hey, wait. I went to a Dash match last season, or was it 2 seasons ago? I went to a few 2 seasons ago. I may have even gone to some last season towards the beginning of the year.
There you go.
I did it as
Who was the
media,
coach?
though.
Okay.
I don't remember who the coach was that year, like who the coach was at the time that I went. You know, I can
Gotcha.
actually,
Okay.
I can tell you this. I can confirm when I went because I sat next to Jen. So I'll find out later because I don't remember what year it was because it's been a whirlwind of a year, to say the least. Anyways, Sarah, what were you calling about? Go ahead and share your
I was
opinion
calling-
and thoughts.
But yeah, because I was listening to you and I'm over here in my house just like shouting at the computer like, no, Sean, that's not what's going on. I mean, there is a lot of what you said is true, but there are really great players coming over to the NWSL. We've actually had players try out for the Dash and sit on the bench for a while, and then we finally either would cut them or whatever, and then they end up going and playing over Europe. So it's we kind of say that players need to go over to Europe if they don't make it here. We're a little bit more aggressive league and how we play, more athletic, and so it's a different style. A lot of players move over from Europe and come over and play in the NWSL. We've got one player that's doing that. She didn't do the whole like Dash and then Europe and then back to Dash, but she went straight from UNC to Liverpool and played over there for a while. She actually played with Cleo High and Amber Brooks at UNC, so she's very familiar with the play.
And correct me if I'm wrong.
So Tara Murray.
Yeah, in when they were playing for UNC, they won a championship while she was there, didn't they?
That is correct. Yeah, I think she
See,
scored
I know
her
some
first
things.
goal as a defender.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's awesome. So is she
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so expert Dash person now. Tell me, is she a player who is a versatile type of player that can play multiple positions?
I mean, the positions they got her in right now, back as right back. I'm trying to think of moving down the field. She's very, very good on that position.
Okay.
Edson probably saw her and I mean, she's very athletic. She's taller. Well, she's taller than me. Everybody's taller than me. But
you are kind of short, I'll be honest.
that is true, yeah. But Satara Murray, she can just knock a player off the ball and then keep the ball in control. She is so smooth on the ball. I'm so glad that James was able to get her. She's a great asset to the team. So there's players like that nobody's really mentioned that,
Sure.
would be great to come see.
So where does that put Ari Romero then?
Ari Romero will be left back. She's the opposite of Satara. So I might have their positions mixed up.
Yeah,
but
because
I think I remember
Satara
seeing
Murray was
Satara
playing
play
left
closer to me.
back, and
Okay.
and Ari was playing right back.
So
Okay,
we still
I
have
had them mixed
Alyssa-
up.
We still have Alyssa Chapman, correct, from the Canadian women's national team? Is she playing left back?
Yeah, but Alyssa Chapman. Well, these guys are probably I'm not James and the rest of the coaching staff, so I'm not going to sit here and say who's playing where. I don't want that
Sure,
to be,
sure.
but I mean, we're going to lose Chapman and Sophie Schmidt and the rest of the Canadians to World Cup time, so
Sure.
these guys are going to be great substitutes. But yeah, I mean, subs, you name it, we're stacked. I mean, seriously, like our starters could play our subs, and it would be the most amazing game you've ever watched in your life.
That's fair, because I mean, you look at the depth, even just like a goalkeeper, and your starter is
Yeah.
Jane Campbell, who realistically, in my opinion, genuinely, just my personal opinion, should be the starting U.S. Women's National Team keeper. But hey, I don't make decisions. And then her backup is Bianca Henniger, who, if I'm not mistaken, is a Mexican Women's National Team keeper. Is she the starter, or
No,
has she been supplanted?
No, she's not being called up right now. Yeah.
Okay.
no, and she had been supplanted by the Club America Femenil keeper.
See, Edson knows his Mexican women's national team players very well. He keeps up with it
But
Well, good.
more than I do, but that's not saying much. But it is.
Yeah.
What it is.
And then
So-
behind those two, we have Devon Kerr from Ohio State, and I mean, she came with high marks as well. So you got three right there, really good.
Yeah, which is good, because we will lose Jane Campbell most likely. She is being called up for at least the next U.S. Women's National Team camp. So her chance to possibly go to the Women's World Cup is also pretty high, and that could leave a hole. And you have to hope that you can't have just a single backup. You have to have a second backup, because if that backup gets hurt, oh boy, you need to have somebody who's ready to step in. And so I'm glad to hear that, because that has been previously one of my concerns, was with the size of NWSL rosters being as they are, and kind of some of those limitations. Although I do know this year that they've increased that roster size a little bit with some additional supplemental roster space, and actually increased it 2 spaces just in terms of the general roster size. But I've always had concerns about, because of the size of the rosters and how NWSL kind of works in terms of salaries, that there would be, if players went down and you had players already called up on international duty, how do you backfill that? Because you can only have so many players play so many positions. And I think that's always a concern. And I do want to say one thing. I think what has me most excited about this season is I feel like for the first time, we have a coach that's coming in who has experience in the right ways, and who's also coming in with the right mindset. I thought your quote that you quoted from him earlier, and I know I mentioned it earlier, but I want to mention it again. Soccer is soccer. I think it's so important that it's approached that way, because that it creates, we talked previously when it comes to the Dynamo and the Dynamo Academy about Paul Holliker as the director of the academy, and how he's creating that culture of partner in development. And I feel like James is helping create that kind of soccer culture within the Dash, and even within kind of the Dynamo ranks to some extent. And I feel like that's the type of approach that needs to be had, not just with the Dash, really genuinely across the league, but especially with the Dash, to definitely improve attendance. And I don't know about you, Sarah, but I feel like the Dash this year, with how they're set up, with again having a lot of the same players they had last year, they're bringing back nearly the entire starting 11, with the exception of maybe 1 player, 2 players, that they stand a really good chance to really push for playoffs, if not a deep run into the playoffs this year. And we saw how good towards the end of the season they really were, and how they improved from the early part of the season where they were not very good. And so I feel very positive that this team is going to be very good this year. And I guess what I'm asking, Sarah, is how do you feel about the team going into this season? Do you think that, where do you think they fall? How do you think they line up against or stand against other teams in the league?
Yeah. Well, I think we're doing a lot better with having James Clarkson. I know that was, when they announced him as coach, some people were like, who is this guy? We have no clue. But since they announced him, when was that? November, December? I can't remember now. People have been drinking more of what I would like to call the Clarkson Kool-Aid. Yeah, seriously. And it's forever orange flavored too. But, yeah, he's just changing the dynamic. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just a feeling like the fan base. I'm seeing more people that kind of walked away from the Dash. They're starting to come back, fan wise. The fact that he kept Eddie on to kind of create that, where the players were like, oh yeah, we don't have a complete coaching staff that's brand new. We don't know who they are. Like, keeping Eddie on was great. I think he's been a great asset to that. And then bringing on Monica and bringing on Brenton, I don't know. I like, from the top down, even you were kind of going after the front office, there's been huge changes. And I've noticing this with the supporters group. They're reaching out to me now. They're like, hey, let's talk. How can we make you bigger? Why is it that you're following the Dash? Is it because they're inspirational? I'm like, no. I like seeing Amber Brooks like totally plow into someone and then like cheering her on.
Yeah.
Taylor Camo like totally ripping Marta a new one last year. That was insane. Like, nobody really knows Taylor Camo. Everybody knows Marta, and then here's this like 25-year-old like taking Marta out. I mean, it was great. We have an amazing team. They're not big names like Alex Morgan, but man, the vibe, the energy this year is completely different. And anybody who's like, I'm not going to buy Dash tickets, no, they're all wrong. They need to buy tickets this year because it's such a good team. Sure. And I think there's like a type of confidence that's coming back. That's what I was telling Jen Cooper or somebody, maybe Jay Adelberg. I was saying last week, I said that, because I lived in Portland for a while. And so I experienced that whole soccer culture up there. And the difference between Houston and Portland at the end of the day is confidence. When Portland loses, it's not their fault. It's the other team's fault. Like they're attacking everybody else except for themselves. When Houston loses, we turn on ourselves. Yeah. We say it's the front office's fault. It's the coaching staff's fault. It's this player's fault. She doesn't want to be here. She's got a bad attitude, or he's always the drama queen on the field. Like, whatever. We turn on ourselves and we destroy ourselves. And this year, the confidence is there. Like, I can't remember which coach it was, but it was like, we've got the best players in the world right now. And I truly believe that. It's like that Clarkson Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I
think we have a phenomenal team. Fans are coming back. The confidence is there, and we've just got to like carry on with that. And we need that support. And I don't want to sound like a charity case and saying like, we need you to come support us. But it's one of those things. It's like, we need the city behind us to say, yeah, we see that you're the best. We're going to support you.
Absolutely.
So that's how I feel on that.
Sure. And, we kind of hinted, I was starting to talk about it, and I think I got derailed train thought wise, but I mean, that is exactly true because, if I'm a player, forget Dash or Dynamo, just in general, if I'm a player and fans don't come out to watch me and I consider myself to be one of the best in the world, that's disheartening, and that wears on a player emotionally and psychologically. Whereas if that player comes out to a sold out stadium and they are genuinely one of the best players in the world, or at least they view themselves as one of the best players in the world, one, they're going to want to play up to that because they're going to want to show the people that showed up for them that, hey, I am the best in the world. And then two, they're going to play harder. They're going to give everything they have because they know the support is there. And they see that. Like, it's a mental and psychological boost. And if that 5% boost at the end of the match is what they need to win every match or to win the majority of matches, if that's all it takes, then why aren't we showing up in droves? Like, if that's all it takes to turn a season from a mediocre season into a great season, why aren't we as a fan base, and obviously this excludes you, Sarah, but why aren't we as a fan base being more committed to showing up? If that's all it takes is just us showing up to see the improvement on the pitch, then it seems like a pretty simple equation to me. Now, with that said, obviously you had to have better talented players. You had to have a higher talent ceiling. But I think all of those things have been addressed. And really the only thing I feel like left this year to really, truly address is fan support. And I'm hopeful.
It really is.
I'm hopeful and I'm genuinely excited for this season. I'm genuinely excited to see some of the things that are happening. I'm extremely excited to see the change in kind of, I'm going to say, the marketing strategy, the marketing of effort, I think has vastly improved in just this offseason. And I think that when I look back at the offseason, I think if there's one change this offseason that really sparks, says to me that this team is serious from a club standpoint, it was James Clarkson bringing in, her last name is Ritter. Is it Winona Ritter? Does that sound right? That sounds right. No, it's not Winona Ritter because I'm thinking of Winona Ryder. That's not right.
Oh, no.
That is not right.
Help me out, Edson. Fix it for me. I don't have it in front of me. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
You talking about Deanna?
Deanna, thank you. Deanna Ritter, right? Witter?
Yeah.
Witter? Deanna Witter?
Yeah.
I was close.
Witter? Yeah,
Witter,
with a W.
Yeah, Deanna Witter. Deanna Witter. That's what it is. But bringing her in and her experience with WNBA, her experience with the NBA, her experience with different markets, just her experience with marketing big name players and not big name players. I just feel like her experience overall has allowed the Dash to blossom from a marketing, from an advertising, from a engagement standpoint. And I think you pointed it out that they've been engaging with you specifically a lot more. And I can tell you from having talked to, other fans that there's more of a proactive approach this season, it seems like, or at least this off season. And if they can continue that, I genuinely believe that's how you rebuild a fan base. That's how you rebuild a culture and how you change a culture. You got to be engaged. And that seems to be like this theme that keeps coming up for both the Dynamo and the Dash and hopefully eventually RGV, Edson. But it's about being engaged, not just engaged with the people that are coming to matches, but engaged with the city and the community and those who aren't coming to matches. And I see that more and more this offseason and going into this season. I think the Slice stuff is incredible that they're doing the Dash. I know they did it last year for a couple of the preseason videos. But I just feel like that gives that connection to the players and connection to the coaches and connection to the club overall that allows fans to connect and to engage. And it helps increase that hype and it helps increase that excitement. And, we're fast approaching the first match of the season, which is, help me out here, Sarah, because I'm blanking. It's April. I know that.
The first match of the season is Sunday, April 14th.
April 14th.
It's the day after a Dynamo game, by the way.
Oh, so see, I could have a whole weekend of soccer. See, you're talking my language.
You could.
Now. I'm coming.
And
out.
there's no
I'm
Astros game, so parking is going to be cheap. I've said this. I'm like a broken record now. Like, it's that easy to come to the Dash game.
That's awesome. That's perfect. Okay. So I'm going to make this commitment, Sarah. Not only am I going to that match, and you can hold me to this, in that show immediately following this match, you can rip me a new one if I'm not able to hold up to this. I'm coming to that match. I'm sitting while standing and chanting and cheering in the Bayou City Republic section.
There you go.
And anybody who stops by, who's listening to this podcast right now, who stops by that section and hangs out with us in that section, I will buy you a beverage of your choice. Anybody.
Ooh.
So I'm bringing a lot of money with me to that match, not cash.
I'll stop by.
Oh, you don't count, Sarah. I'm just kidding. I'll get you a beverage anyways. And Jake counts too, so Jake can get a beverage also. And so can Cav, and I can think of a few other people. But seriously,
sodas are free, so we'll sort of.
Shh, don't say that. They're not supposed to know that I can get those things for free. But no, seriously, like, if you stop by, we can get. We will do some sort of free beverage thing, and I will get you a free beverage of your choice, which includes alcohol for those that want to imbibe. But I just, I like I said, I'm genuinely excited, and I really want to see Bayou City Republic grow. I want to see Dash fan support grow because again, if that 5% is all that's needed to take the Dash to that next level, which is playoffs and hopefully further, then I'm willing to go all in on it. You know, I'm willing to put the effort in to see that happen and see that grow. And so, you know, like I said, if you're listening, there's your call. There's your call out. I'm expecting to have more people there than we normally would. And Cisco, I'm calling you out specifically. You were in that section, sir, that day. No excuses.
And I'll up the ante. I'll come to your Dynamo game.
Oh, which one? There's quite a few of them. Oh, you mean the one the
Well,
day before?
the one the night before. We'll make it a Dyna-Dash like weekend.
Awesome. I'm
There you
excited
go.
for that, actually. That's going to be a blast. Awesome.
Think about
Sir,
that. We'll just get a bunch of Dash fans come to the Dynamo game. Dynamo
Yeah.
fans come to the Dash game. Like
Sure.
one big orange family.
Family. That's what
How
we
it
are.
should
We're
be.
the Dyna Dash family and RGV Toro family, too, because they don't get a lot of love anymore. I'm sorry, Edson. We love you still anyways. I could feel his tears. You can't see them, but I could feel them.
We're making him a Dash fan.
He's a Dash fan already. He's got the love
Oh
of his
yeah. Oh
life,
no. I
Sofia
don't, but
Huerta.
even more so. Like we're teaching him the ropes.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Sarah, you have anything else?
No, I don't think so. I just wanted to like share some of the Clarkson Kool-Aid with you guys.
Hey,
But I'm
all
sure
about
Robin
that
can add
Clarkson
more
Kool-Aid.
because she's in the section with us, yelling at the teams and stuff. So yeah, she wants to call in and challenge her.
Hopefully, I will say this: if Robin calls in or anybody else calls in to talk Dash before 8 o'clock, we will go a little bit past 8 o'clock to allow that call to finish. I'm just throwing it out there, so we won't end right at 8.
There
We
you
won't
go.
cut anybody off. Well, Sarah, hey, thanks for joining us. We do appreciate it. Hey, if somebody
Yeah.
does want to join Bayou City Republic before the April 14th match, how can they go about doing that?
Well, we're actually going to be at Houston Sports Park this Saturday. We're having the Dash are going to be scrimmaging against Texas Tech. It's a free scrimmage at 1:30 p.m. So we're going to be out there selling merch, letting people know about pre-games at 8th Wonder. We like to have pre-game 3 hours before kickoff at every home game. And if there's not a home game, we're going to be at the Phoenix on Westheimer having watch parties with Keeper Nuts, Jen Cooper. So there's lots of time to hang out with us. And we don't have it like finalized, but we're kind of thinking about having like a night before the match gathering where if there's any Dash fans in and around BBVA, we might meet at like Little Woodrow's or something to hang out and have beers and predict the whole season or something like that. I don't know.
Predict the whole season. Oh man.
Yeah. You know
I
how
would
we
be
do
down
it.
for it. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no. If Jen's there, she's gonna win. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Nice.
It's pretty good. Well, hey, Sarah, thanks for joining us. We genuinely, deeply
Yeah.
appreciate it, and we appreciate all you do for Bayou City Republic and for Dash support. Keep it up. You have our support, and I look forward to seeing you out there on April 14th. I know I committed to Saturday this week, but turns out that this whole response that I'm on, yeah, I get to work Saturday. Yay for me. Anyways, so I hope a lot of people show up Saturday to go support the Dash in their scrimmages before the Dynamo away match. But if they don't, then they need to come out to April 14th. I don't care. Come out to April 14th and hang out. It'll be a blast. I promise you, everyone. It will be a blast.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. Have a good one.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Have a
All
good
right,
night.
Dash on.
Dash on. Dash TF on.
You. Have a good night.
So a reminder, guys, the phone lines are still open for another 5 minutes exactly. Phone number is 956-622-5977. That number again is 956-622-5977. It is 956, right?
Yes.
Okay, that sounded wrong in my head for some reason.
That's because it's an RGV area code.
Yeah, I know. We need to fix that. I'm just kidding. It's fine. I like actually having it 956. Hey, guys, if you're watching, do us a favor. Like the video, share
956,
the
I
video.
say.
Yeah, like the stream, share the stream, like the video, share the video. Hit up all your friends and family on social media. Hashtag do our part. That all kind of ties into that.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, 5 minutes to call in. 4 minutes now. I don't know if Robin's watching. I hope she is. If you're watching, Robin, I want you to call in because I want to talk more Dash before I go to bed tonight. because I am very tired. Let's see. What did we miss in the chat?
Nah, she says she's at work.
Oh, that's okay, Robin. Robin, we'll get you live at that first Dash match. We'll record you. We'll have an interview and record it. That way we can play it, and I won't have to talk for one of the half Tuesdays. Let's see what else. In the off season, the Dash brought in, and this seems like such an undernoted statement, right? Like it should be such a big fanfare type of thing. Like, this is a big deal. They signed.
Kind of went under a radar.
Yeah, like it didn't go under the radar. I mean, it was talked about at the time, but like it's become such a quiet thing now. Christine Nairn is a fantastic freaking midfield player that they brought in. Just kind of, I mean, it's an underrated move just because I think it's lost a lot of its hype because it happened so far in advance of the preseason. But I think that
she had a lot of long range, outside the box shots against Texas A&M, and they were close.
No, she's always had an incredibly accurate shot from distance, and then she doesn't necessarily have to put finesse on it either. Like, she can hit it hard from distance, and I am very happy to have her on the team because she is genuinely an incredible player, and she's a tough player who will just run and run and run and run and run, and I'm genuinely looking forward to getting to watch her do that in a Dash uniform, Dash kit, Dash shirt, to say the least. Well, with that, Edson, you know what? We made it an hour talking pretty much just strictly about the Dash. I think that's awesome. Callow says, bring everyone you know to the Dash games. They're affordable, family fun. And let it be known, we converted our show, Generation Orange, converted Callowist into a Dash fan. And he will readily admit it, that we were the reason why he went to his first Dash match and has been going pretty much ever since, I believe, when he's able. Well, guys, hey, thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. We know this is kind of a short show for us, but no, I look up at the ceiling because it keeps me focused, and it lets me kind of focus my mind off the crap from the day. But thanks, Darby. Thanks for calling that out. I appreciate that. But no, seriously, guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging in there. We know that there are those, for whatever reason they may have, don't like to listen to us talk about the Dash. But you know what? Get over it. Dash is just as much part of this show as the Dynamo and RGV Toros.
Yes.
But we appreciate you tuning in, hanging in there, and listening to my ranting for quite a while, actually, about the Dash and NWSL and women's soccer in general. And remember, guys, at the end of the day, soccer is soccer, and that's all that matters. With that being said, hashtag DashTFON.
Hashtag We Are Gen Orange.
Hashtag Somos Toros.
Hashtag Forever Orange. And hashtag Do Our Part. Have a good night, guys.
Peace.